While you were in the CIA and you were not able to tell people what you did for work, what did you tell family and friends you did for a living? How did you navigate and maintain the lie? Did you ever slip up, or did it just come naturally? Thanks. Great question. So what they tell you in training is to make the lie as simple as possible, because the simpler the lie, the easier it is to remember. So at first I just said, I work for the State Department. Oh, you're in the Foreign Service? No, I'm in the Civil Service. That's why I have these long stretches in Washington. If people asked more specifically, the instruction was to say something that was so boring that they wouldn't ask follow-up questions. Oh, what do you do at the State Department? Oh, I'm involved in international training related to trade and trade negotiations. They're like, oh. And then that would be the end of the conversation. That almost always worked for me. When I went undercover and I actually was, a State Department Foreign Service officer, the lie became more specific because I had to work for a specific office inside the State Department. I actually can't get into those details, but I had an office at State, I had a phone at State, I had a part-time secretary at State, and so there was a lot more work involved in keeping up that cover. I've told a story a couple of times where I generally never talk to people on airplanes. I listen to music or I read a book or a magazine or something. I just don't say anything. I was flying from Milan to Eastern Europe one time, and there was this Italian guy next to me who just would not shut his mouth. And he kept asking me, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? And I said, well, I'm involved in the import-export business. Oh, well, what do you import? What do you export? I said, whatever, turns things into money. He just wouldn't stop. And finally, I said, look, I smuggle women and cigarettes from Eastern Europe, okay? Are you happy now? And he goes, oh, I don't think I approve. I said, I didn't ask for your fucking approval. And then he just kind of sat there with his head down the rest of the time. I only had to do that once, but the guy just would not shut up. Otherwise, did I ever make a mistake? Once. Once I was in a hotel meeting with a source who knew me by an alias. He did not know my name was John Kiriakou. And I picked up the phone to call room service because he wanted a cup of coffee. And I said, hi, this is John Kiriakou in room 610. And he kind of perked up. And I was like, shit. And when I hung up, he said, why did you use that name? And I said, well, to protect your safety, I had to check in an alias. And so that's the made up name that I'm using. And he was like, oh, of course. That was the only time I ever made a mistake in my cover.